What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm working on my SC430. I have a very strange problem on the gauge cluster. Basically, as you can see, when I turn the key on, my gauge cluster is not functioning properly, meaning none of the gauges are working, especially when I open the door. There is no indication of the door light in the dash, opening, closing. Also, no lights when I turn a car on. When I drive the car, none of the gauges are working. The speedometer is not working. The RPM is not working. Gas and temperature, none of those gauges are working. It looks like I have a bad short or ground issue or electrical problem. Everything else works in the car. The car starts just fine, except I don't have anything in the front. What I have discovered is if I unplug or remove the negative terminal from the battery, leave the door open, put the battery or the negative terminal back on the battery kind of after 10-15 seconds, it resets the system. Everything works within the gauge cluster. So I have checked all the fuses. None of the fuses are blown. I have checked most of the grounds within the doors on each passenger side and driver side doors. Nothing is loose or rusted. I'm in Southern California, so there's hardly any rust here. Ground is, to my knowledge, based on what I have tested, from the engine all the way to the doors and inside, everything works. Ground is working fine. However, the issue happens, maybe you guys can help me out with this. The issue happens when I reset the battery, everything starts working, right? So the door is still open. When I close the door, the lights dim down. These lights up here, the inside lights, the Lexus door lights, everything stays on for 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, when these lights dim down, it kills all the gauges, the lights, the gauges, and these crazy, dash lights come up. One is, which it stays on, as you can see, seatbelt, ABS, brake, which my brake is not on. Brake is not on. The check engine light goes away when I turn the car on, but the rest of them stay on. See, I turn the car on, check engine light is out, but none of the gauges are working. And yeah, it's crazy. So I just wanted to go through the process. I opened up the door panels, as I mentioned before. I tested the wires. Now I'm opening up the gauge cluster. I'm taking the cover out, and I want to show you how to do this. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this thing. Taking this thing out is a pain in the ass, to tell you the truth, but here's the trick. There are no videos showing how to take this out. There are a bunch of pictures and maybe on Lexus forums about description about how to remove it, and they make it so simple, like it's a piece of cake, but in reality it isn't. So here is the trick. I took some of it out. There are 3 pieces. It's the cover plastic piece, and I will show you what to do and how to do it properly so you won't break it. There are kind of pins and latches inside, which I had no idea or didn't know. I was just kind of like looking into some eBay pictures about people selling these items, and I noticed these pins in the back of the trims. So this is the first piece. The glass inside, which I'm going to hopefully get there and show you, is the second piece. Then you get to the gauge cluster, which is a 1 unit with 4 screws bolted into the system. As you can maybe see, there's 1 screw down there already, but there is a glass cover that I have to remove. So here is the trick. I had to use 2 of these plastic trim removers. I have a bunch of these plastic trim removers, and you see there is a latch here me get it in. There's a latch here, right in this section, and also there is a latch here, right in this section. So yeah, I had to. What I did, I put one of my trim removers. I shoved it in here very carefully, but you have to kind of push it into this side, as you can see, like this. And I put the second one into this side, kind of forced it in slowly, but you have to force it in, unfortunately. It's not, like I said, it's not the easiest process. And you kind of have to, from inside, you see where my finger is? You put your fingers, when you push it out a little bit, you kind of have to push it out. When you push it out, you put your fingers behind these plastic. There's a, there's a little bit of a space when you wiggle it and you play around with it, and you just push it out slowly. As you can see, I took half of it out. I'm trying to get the rest of it out without breaking anything. Also, with the steering wheel, you don't have to touch the steering wheel, but it would be very helpful if you lower it all the way down and push it all the way out, so it's not kind of, you have room here to play. So I'm going to put the camera down and as you can see, pull this thing out slowly, and I will show you the next step, which is the glass or the plastic cover, then where all the screws are to take the gauge cluster, and also possibly the connectors in the back. I think there are like 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 connectors I have to disconnect to remove that. Definitely when you get to that point, try to disconnect your battery. You don't want to cause any more damages or fuck things up. Just disconnect your battery so you can, unplug. At this point, I'm just checking to see if there are any short or any connectors or anything that's loose, possibly behind the gauge cluster, that's causing this issue I'm having. So anyhow, I am going to play around with this. As you can see, I have half of the thing out. I think this side, you see these 2 buttons, there's a cable behind there. I think there is a cable, has to be something connected back there, so be careful on this side. So kind of, I'm trying to get this out so I can show you guys, but let me put the camera down. I get back once I take it out and I will show you what I have done. All right, I'm back. I took that side out. It's connected to, as you can see, these 2 buttons, trip and reset buttons, are connected, obviously. But on this side, you see there is a little pin here, just like the other side, going into this hole. And I had to just pull this out. Again, you kind of have to be careful, but you do have to kind of push and pull out and use a little force, but try to use the force pulling everything out straight. Try to pull everything out straight. Don't bend it because it's plastic and it could break, the edges could break. Just kind of, put your fingers behind here and pull straight out. Don't go left or right. Don't force too much to the left or right. You just kind of have to pull it out, straight out. So I'm going to disconnect this connector and remove the glass next. All right, I'll be right back. Put the camera down and I come back to this. All right, as you can see, I took it out. This is the pin in case if you need to replace this piece. There is the cable. The pin is on the side, as you can see. You have to press or push this side to get it released, to get it out. Not from the top or bottom, it's a little pin on the side. So next is to to remove this piece of there's a plastic cover here. I guess at this point, since the screws are kind of noticeable, as you can see, there are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not gonna bother with this, but if you want to change this piece, there are 4. There are literally 4 little clips here. I think, yeah, there are 4 clips. Like one, let me get the camera inside. There's this clip, this one on top right there. This clip, you gotta have to push it and take the. There's another one on top of here, and then there is another one here. So there are 3 clips on top for this plastic cover. There is 1, 2, and 3, and it looks like there are 2 down here. There are 2 down here, and there are 2 on each side. There is another one here, and there is another one on this side. Like I said, I think it's easier if you just take the whole thing out and then deal with this plastic cover later. I'm gonna try to take the. Sorry, dropped the camera. I'm gonna try to take the whole thing out and see what I can find out. Again, make sure you don't have the ignition key on, batteries disconnected, so you don't damage anything. Be right back. All right, guys, so I took the 4 screws out. There's really not much back here. It's really simple. It just comes right out, as you can see. There's nothing back there. That's the connector. It looks like it's only one connector back here, and that's pretty much it. The main harness cable going into the back of the dashboard where the stereo system is, which is this one right here. Man, I thought it was going to be some other stuff I could possibly check. Anyhow, I hope you guys can help me out with this issue. I don't know what I'm really looking for around here. I was hoping for like some ground wires or anything, but I don't really see much. If you have experienced this issue before, if you have any suggestions or comments, please share it with me in the comment section at the bottom. Let me know what you think, and let me know what other ground bolts or wires that that I should check. Fuses I have checked. I don't think this issue is related to fuses, mainly ground or short somewhere. I just don't know where, so I'm just kind of like taking the car apart and try to figure this out before I take it someplace else and pay him God knows how much to figure out what the issue is. Anyhow, I hope this video has been helpful. If you need to do anything with the gauges or the front cluster in your car, some also mentioned there are some suggestions or some toolkits for LED lights to put in the back. If you want to do that, you basically disconnect it at this point. You take this whole thing out, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe, like the video, and put your comments at the bottom, suggestions, anything that can help with this situation I'm dealing with. Thank you very much. See you guys on the next video.